If you're new to crypto, you might be thinking, oh man, I'm just so late. Bitcoin is already worth $1 trillion. Everyone is in before me. But that, for me, just isn't the case. If you could go back to 1997 for the Amazon IPO, you could buy one share for $18. That same share is now valued at over $3,000. Well, how about a more modern example? I remember being at college and my friend said, hey, did you see this Facebook thing? You can put your pictures on there. That's when you could only sign up if you had a university email address. Facebook IPO'd in 2012, not even that long ago, at $38 per share. It's now worth 10 times that amount. That's the stage we're at right now in crypto. A lot of blockchains will fail, just like AOL, but some will be as big as, if not bigger than Amazon and Google. So with that said, what do I think are the best cryptos to invest in for the long term? Let's have a look. And also, this is by no means financial advice, and there are plenty of other cryptos out there. Crypto is also a new industry, meaning that in the future, there very well may be a top 5 crypto that doesn't even exist yet. I mean, only 10 years ago, everyone used Internet Explorer. So with that said, this may be a list of my personal choices now, but things change and so may this list. So definitely sub to the channel to keep up to date with the inevitable changes over time. First up is Ethereum. Ethereum is a decentralized financial ecosystem, and what makes ETH truly valuable is smart contracts. Smart contracts have literally changed the course of human history. It's that big, in my opinion. A computer scientist called Nick Szabo used a vending machine analogy to explain how smart contracts work. With the right input, you are guaranteed a certain output. In a vending machine, if you input the correct amount of money and the correct code, you get a snack. Vending machines were invented to remove 7-Eleven between the consumer and a Pepsi. The transaction is kept between the person and the machine. Whilst vending machines charge £1 or $1 for a packet of Doritos, Ethereum is worth $350 billion. So that's a big vending machine. But seriously though, just imagine if you could sell your house without using an agent, or invest in an NFT so that you can own 1% of the music rights to your favorite artists' early songs when they were touring the country with a fan base in the hundreds. Maybe that artist goes on to become Eminem, Nirvana, or if you're Gen Z, Lil Uzi Vert. We now have the potential to invest in our own culture and benefit from it. Instead of big centralized companies taking the value out of our communities, we have the ownership ourselves. In my opinion, this industry is worth trillions, not billions. Anyone can create a smart contract to be deployed on Ethereum. There are only 2 requirements. First is a working program written in one of the Ethereum specific coding languages, Solidity and Viper. Second is enough ETH to pay for gas and contract deployment fees, but end users can do this easily using consumer-friendly dApps anyway. Fat cats should not be able to take the value out of our communities. Humans now have a way to directly communicate with each other and transact in a trustless way. Smart contracts are the future, in my opinion. Ethereum investors are still expecting a huge unlock of value though. With blockchains, you always have a trade-off between decentralization and security, and this is known as the blockchain trilemma. You can't just increase the amount of transactions on the network whilst keeping the same amount of decentralization. If you increase decentralization by adding more computers that run the network, you also slow it down, because as the transactions need to be confirmed more times, it inevitably slows down the amount of transactions that can be processed. There's a few things you can do though. First, you can bundle transactions together on a second layer of the blockchain. Nodes on this second layer can basically bundle up groups of transactions together, approve them, and then send them to the base layer. So that means more transactions without sacrificing base layer decentralization. Also, you can move over to proof of stake, and this has a few main benefits. First, anyone that owns coins can stake, so more people can participate and earn blockchain rewards. And secondly, it can increase decentralization because it's easier for people to participate and run, or at least invest in running nodes. That's the basics anyway, and that is what Ethereum will be doing in the future. Ethereum as a brand and as a network has it. It houses the biggest dApps and is seen as the premier smart contracts chain. In short, expect billions of dollars worth of value to be unlocked and added to the Ethereum market cap if and when they successfully move over to ETH 2.0. Next up, we have Cardano, founded in 2015 by Ethereum co-founder Charles Hoskinson. It operates on a decentralized proof-of-stake protocol called Ouroboros, so despite coming after Ethereum, it already has proof-of-stake. We won't get into the details here, but Cardano is relying on proof-of-stake for decentralization and also a layer 2 solution called Hydra that could potentially allow for, get this, 1 million transactions per second. That's crazy. Max capacity right now, though, is thought to be around 257 TPS compared to Ethereum's currently 14.7 TPS. What Ethereum currently has over Cardano, however, is its list of smart contracts already built on the blockchain. Cardano has only just launched smart contract functionality, which will support all of the decentralized apps that will add value to Cardano over time as the ecosystem grows. Cardano uses a programming language called Plutus, which is actually based off another older language called Haskell. Charles Hoskinson is of the opinion that Plutus is an easier language to develop for and also easier to test out for bugs, which over time could mean Cardano could be seen as a more reliable chain to develop for. Cardano also seeks to expand its community innovation through something called Project Catalyst. It aims to provide funds for a series of higher level projects, and this can be initiated by someone called a proposer who submits a proposal for funding. Then the ideas can be voted upon for implementation by voters, which is all of us in the Cardano community that hold ADA tokens. We then become the stewards of each project and help steer Cardano as a whole towards its vision of becoming a more stable and connected, decentralized financial ecosystem. The blockchain too currently has big plans in Africa. It partnered with the Ethiopian government to use its smart contracts to upgrade part of the country's educational system. Students will be provided with digital IDs on something known as Cardano's Itala Prism, which can store their academic performance throughout their lives. And the hope is that they become Cardano natives, using dApps on Cardano for banking, NFTs, borrowing money, and generally doing everything else in decentralized marketplaces. Cardano is banking on their platform to unlock the economic potential of the African continent, where the current centralized systems seem to prohibit growth rather than help it. There is no doubt that Cardano is a serious contender in the space. The technology, the development, the project, the team, the community, I believe in it. Many investors, however, are still waiting on the sidelines to see how it performs once smart contracts are added on the blockchain, which means that over time we could continue to see growth in investment and growth in the market cap. And if you're enjoying the video so far, subscribe if you haven't done already and come join me on Twitter, link below. I know about Bitcoin, you know about Bitcoin, and the whole entire world now knows about Bitcoin. So it's too late right now? Absolutely not. Saying you're late to Bitcoin now is like saying you were late to the Google IPO in 2004 because Google had been around for years before that. Since its IPO, Google has risen nearly 32 times in value. But it's more than that. When a technology is new, unproven, and not widely adopted, there's a much higher risk that it may fail as a technology. Bitcoin is now past that stage, and so whilst the value at around 1 trillion now can, in my opinion, grow to the multiple trillions, the risk that Bitcoin disappears has shrunk considerably and is shrinking more each and every day, making the investment less risky. There's many ways to try and understand the value of Bitcoin. Metcalfe's law is often cited, which predicts basically that the more people that join a network, the more its value should increase. Pretty obvious, right? We can see here that as the Bitcoin network grows and has more adoption, Metcalfe's law suggests that the price of Bitcoin, the actual cryptocurrency, should rise. And we can see that the actual price of Bitcoin broadly correlates with this law. It's obvious that the value of a network will increase the bigger it gets. So the real question is, can Bitcoin continue to grow as a network? And if so, how much can it actually grow? By any metric that you want to use, unique transactions per day, unique addresses, the exponential growth is clear to see. And with the Lightning Network, the amount of transactions that the Bitcoin network will be able to process will absolutely explode without actually having to change the secure structure of the base layer. We can also see Lightning Network usage is exploding at a huge rate, up, up, up. Bitcoin is also unique in that the coins themselves are a store of value, as there'll only ever be 21 million of them. So unlike other networks like Facebook or Google, whose share prices rely on their profits from selling ads, BTC has many other benefits of being essentially the A1 premier digital property to store your wealth. Unlike actual property or gold, for example, BTC can be bought and sold 24/7, 365 in an ultra liquid market that currently trades around $36 billion worth of value every single day. Billions of dollars of value can be sent instantly to the other side of the world, and you can carry your entire wealth in your head as long as you can remember your private keys. And if you hold Bitcoin, you can actually lend some of it out on a platform like Celsius Wallet at the current interest rate of 6.5%. If you want to sign up, you can get $50 of Bitcoin with your first deposit on the platform. I'll leave my code below in the description to use when you download the app. Next on the list is Polkadot. And Cardano is not the only platform that is trying to be at the center of communities of value transfer. Also founded by an ex-Ethereum founder, Gavin Wood, its architecture is sharded and multi-chain, and this allows interoperability amongst all the other chains to be built on top of Polkadot itself. Polkadot's vision is true Web 3.0, which would decentralize all of the apps and services that run online, all owned and controlled by their own communities. In reality, Polkadot is trying to play in the same space as Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, and others. So the big question is, where does this blockchain fit in and what will be its market? Actually, the Polkadot ecosystem is way bigger than the Cardano ecosystem at the moment, but also way smaller than Ethereum. We can see that the Polkadot ecosystem right now has a value of around 50 billion, according to CoinGecko. That's the value of all the cryptos built on top and can be actually used on Polkadot, like Chainlink, for example, which actually is also built on Ethereum. So possibly this number is a bit generous. In my opinion, Polkadot is a little bit too developer focused and lacks a little when it comes to communicating all the benefits of the blockchain to consumers. This is why we see Polkadot just a fraction of the value of Cardano, even though Polkadot has way more projects built on top already. Using the wallets on Cardano is easier, and something as simple as this may count against Polkadot in terms of adoption over time, but they can of course make changes to all of this as well. Next up we have DeFi, the whole of DeFi. Decentralized finance is monumental in my opinion. It's huge as an idea, but it's also actually becoming huge, with the combined market cap of the sector right now standing at over 100 billion USD, excluding the actual value of the base layer blockchains that support it like Ethereum. That is impressive, but what's more impressive is that since the start of 2018 to now, so that's just about 3 years, the sector has gone up in value a staggering 100 times. That is insane. A 1,000 investment in DeFi just 3 years ago would have you sitting on $100,000 in value right now. The internet has already taught us that when you cut out the middleman, great things happen. Amazon cut out the retailers and drove down prices of the stuff we buy. YouTube let individual creators post videos online, and now some of those creators, not me, but some of them get more monthly views than paid for cable TV. This is what's happening to finance right now. dApps like Uniswap let people exchange tokens without a centralized exchange in the middle, or you can lend out your USD stablecoins on Aave yourself and directly earn the interest from borrowers. No bank in the middle taking your hard-earned cash, investing it, and then paying you 0.01%, laughing at you whilst they pay themselves the big bonus bucks. DeFi is big. It's up 100x in 3 years, but it's actually still quite small. I mean, JP Morgan, just one bank in a much bigger financial industry, is valued at almost $500 billion itself versus 100 billion for the whole of DeFi. For me, there are risks and opportunities with DeFi. The opportunity is clear. We have a small but fast growing industry that can disrupt what we have at the moment because it's cheaper. You can lend out money for a few bucks in Ethereum right now, and it's more direct, giving individuals more control. But there are also risks. It's largely unregulated, and we don't really know what safeguards and backstops there are if things go tits up. There kind of aren't any backstops at the moment. So then with that knowledge, what DeFi project, blockchain or protocol do we actually invest in? Well, for DeFi, it may be better to just simply invest in the entire thing. Grayscale actually has a new DeFi fund that puts together the biggest names in Ethereum DeFi into a single diversified investment. When you diversify it, you spread your risk out amongst different investments so that if one of them doesn't succeed, which is quite likely in a new industry, you still have exposure to many others, which over time will mean that the portfolio should grow in general with the growth of the industry. DeFi is worth 100 billion right now, and for me, it could easily be worth 1, 2, 3 trillion over time. So I don't need to be a hero and choose the one best coin that's going to 100x, but rather just get exposure to the industry in general, reducing my specific risk. So then I'll just go and buy the Grayscale DeFi Trust. Well, unfortunately not. Only professional investors are allowed to invest in the fund, so I'll have to find a different way. Luckily, it's really not that difficult because Grayscale tell everyone what they've invested in and also how much of the fund each investment makes up as a percentage. With that information, it's easy to replicate the fund and also not pay Grayscale the 2.5% yearly management fee. So my performance is always going to beat them by at least that much. The way I would do it is to use a trading bot on KuCoin. KuCoin has the best trading bots in my opinion, and you can easily invest in a pre-made diversified investment portfolio in DeFi right in the app. Simply choose the portfolio you want and the trading bots on KuCoin will work to keep each investment as a certain percentage of the overall portfolio. And if you want to change the percentage yourself, you can actually do that, or just set up your own fund with your own investments so you can add in some other projects that you like. Blockchain technology is giving individuals the power to choose, and that's why I love it. And if you want to try out KuCoin, I'll leave the link below. So then, be in no doubt that we're in the early stages of crypto adoption. There'll be many bumps in the road. Some big projects right now will lose, and some new projects that don't even exist now will be big. This list will change for sure over time, and I'll update the video in the future, so be sure to sub to keep up to date. If you want to try out KuCoin or get $50 of Bitcoin with your first deposit on Celsius Wallet, check out the links and codes in the description. I'm James with MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.